right, we see smoke coming out of the weather office today as the different models come in and the number crunching goes on and the grinding. What are we looking at now?
Yeah, well, you know, guys, it's hard to get under my skin when it comes to forecasting. Usually I just
you roll the dice. You get right out front of it.
Just ride it. But,
yeah, there's been a lot of discussion over there.
There's been this, and then we have text discussion to get Todd in on it. It's a real kerfuffle. We'll talk about where we ended up here in just a minute. Overnight lows, let's start there. Let's start with the next 2 days, and then we'll get to that storm. Cold, that's the story tonight. It'll be 0 or just a little bit below 0 along the coastline, below 0 into the interior, and then way cold into the mountains and across northern Maine, as cold as 25, 26 below up towards Caribou. So that's really the story as we head into tomorrow morning as well. It starts cold. We get some sun in there through the first half of the day. A few more clouds probably come in, though, in the afternoon. But notice how much our temps are really struggling here. Only in the teens, even in the middle of the day, and probably 10 or 11 degrees in the mountains for a high temperature. And then we cloud up tomorrow night, and then Friday is a relatively quiet day, but it's cloudy, and we see a couple of snow showers and squalls out there, temperatures in the mid-20s to upper 20s, setting the stage for our storm system that is really the focus, obviously, of our forecast here on Saturday into Saturday night. So where is this storm? In short, it doesn't exist yet, and that's what makes these variations that seem like a big deal when model runs come in actually aren't, in the sense that the storm doesn't even exist yet, so it moving 50 miles doesn't really seem shocking, but it'll come down here through the Gulf, up into Florida, and then up into the Northeast for Friday night and into Saturday. So here's what happened today. I'll make this as short as possible. Basically, the European model yesterday had a really crushing storm, right? And I talked about the GFS was a little bit more progressive, and we had to give some credence to that with our map, which is what we did. Well, more or less, the Euro caved to the GFS. It's more progressive. It doesn't sit that low down to the south anymore. So it's a faster moving storm system. It's also a little bit farther east. So those two things impact snowfall totals. When you get the low down here sitting here for a day and a half, that's a lot of snow. When it moves, you don't get quite as much. So this is how it stands right now. We've still got a good storm in here on Saturday into Saturday night, into probably early Sunday morning, and it's heaviest along the coastline and down East Maine, and then wraps into northern Maine, and it's out of here. So our snowfall map visually, unfortunately, does look quite a bit different. The reality of it is this was our contour of 10 to 20 yesterday, and we felt like it was necessary to separate down East Maine from southern coastal Maine. It wasn't the same zone. 10 to 20 wasn't really appropriate for both zones. And so 12 to 18 here in Bar Harbor over to Rockland into Eastport and Machias. And then we dragged Portland and York and Cumberland County and York County into 8 to 12 inches, recognizing that, yes, there's still an upside potential. And this is something we discussed, is if the models wobble back west, we could be over 12 inches. But was that the most likely solution? It doesn't look like it right now. And then 4 to 8 inches down from 6 to 10 in the shaded blue area, where they'll be a little bit farther away from the moisture. So that's where we are with the forecast right now. It felt like it was necessary to make an adjustment and not just hold the map just to hold the map. This doesn't really make sense, although it's fun sometimes. After that, the story will be some warmth late next week. Brief, probably, might come with some rain, upper 40s and low 50s. So we'll keep nailing that thing down. I'll tell you what, you guys will laugh at this, but this is true. I had restless sleep last night, knowing there were models coming in while I was sleeping, and I wanted to know, like, what happened with the storm, you know. And that's kind of like when you get closer, you see these little wobbles. But
this is National Spouse Day. Is Paula now reconsidering her life choices, do you think?
Right.
If she hasn't done it yet, I don't think she's going to wisen up anytime soon. But you know, it's interesting when a storm is so big that 8 to 12 and 12 to 18 seems like a letdown. You know?
Yeah.
That is funny, because we have not had the big snowstorm for a while.
No,
there's been a lot of bare ground until yesterday. So I think a lot of people are psyched about seeing a pile of snow.
Yeah, if we stick with where we are now, still a good storm.
All right, Keith, thank you.